Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to cut straight through the noise to demystify one of the absolute most disruptive concepts of our modern era. I'm talking about internet money. We're going to build a clean, totally jargon-free mental model of exactly what Bitcoin is and how it fundamentally works. So just imagine this for a second. Imagine a world where money exists, right? But there are no banks, there are no governments printing it, and there is absolutely no physical cash. Just pure, digital value being transacted securely all across the globe. Well, that's not science fiction. That is the reality of the digital money revolution we're mapping out today. Here is our roadmap for today. First, the digital money revolution. 2, the school lunch analogy. 3, under the hood at the tech. 4, Bitcoin's pros and cons. And 5, Bitcoin versus normal money. All right, jumping into section 1. The digital money revolution, rethinking how we exchange value. At its absolute core, Bitcoin is really just internet money. But unlike the everyday fiat currency we're all used to, it operates completely outside the control of a single bank or a government. Instead, it relies on a vast, decentralized network of computers literally all around the world. Think about how things usually work. Historically, sending money requires a middleman. You send a request to your bank, right? Then they verify your balance, they take a little cut for themselves, and eventually they route it to your friend. Well, Bitcoin challenged that entire dynamic with one massive question. What if people could just bypass the bank entirely and send value directly, peer-to-peer? Which brings us to section 2, the school lunch analogy. A shared scoreboard. Okay. Picture this. Imagine your school uses digital lunch points. But instead of a teacher sitting there controlling all the balances, every single student shares a live copy of the exact same digital scoreboard. So when someone buys a lunch, everyone's scoreboard updates simultaneously. Because everybody holds the shared record, nobody can secretly cheat or just invent fake points out of thin air. The community itself is the record keeper. And honestly, this is exactly how Bitcoin bypasses the bank. Moving on to section 3, under the hood, the tech. Time to decode some of that jargon. So this entire financial revolution actually began back in 2009. But what makes its origin story so incredibly unique is the complete mystery surrounding it. The creator of Bitcoin goes by the name Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, this could be a single genius person, or it could be a whole group of brilliant developers. To this very day, nobody knows. They remain completely unknown. Think about that for a second. One of the biggest, most disruptive inventions in modern technology was created by an entity whose true identity is still a total mystery. It just adds such a fascinating layer to the whole system, doesn't it? Now, the first really crucial concept you need to grasp here is decentralization. Simply put, there's no boss, there's no CEO, and no government is in charge. Instead, the whole system relies on thousands of computers globally, basically acting as a massive team to keep the network alive and perfectly accurate. Next up is a concept that truly sets Bitcoin apart from the cash sitting in your wallet right now, and that's limited supply. You know, governments can, and honestly often do, print more money whenever they need to, but not Bitcoin. The underlying code strictly dictates that only 21 million Bitcoins will ever exist, period. That hard cap on the supply makes it act a bit like digital gold, because, as we all know, scarcity tends to increase value. But wait, how do new Bitcoins actually enter circulation if there's no central bank to print them? Well, through a process called mining. But it's not physical digging. Mining actually relies on computers solving really complex mathematical puzzles to secure the network. You can think of these miners as digital auditors or security guards. By verifying the transactions, they earn newly minted Bitcoin as a reward for their work. And that naturally brings us to the famous blockchain. I know, it sounds super intimidating, but it is really just a giant, ongoing digital record book. Think back to our school lunch scoreboard from earlier. The blockchain is that exact same concept. It's a notebook distributed to thousands of people globally, which makes it virtually impossible to hack or manipulate. Let's head into section 4, Bitcoin's pros and cons, an unbiased look at the big debate. First up, why are people so enthusiastic about this? Well, for a lot of folks, it's really about privacy and direct control. You actually own your money without some bank telling you what you can or can't do with it. Then there's the global aspect. You can seamlessly send value across borders without dealing with clunky international bank transfers. Enthusiasts also love to point to that limited supply of 21 million coins, the scarcity factor, and the investment potential, obviously hoping its value continues to rise over time. But on the flip side, critics bring up some very valid concerns. The biggest one, extreme price volatility. The value can swing wildly from month to month or even day to day. There's also a massive ongoing debate regarding its energy use, because that whole computer mining process requires immense amounts of electricity. And lastly, let's be real, it still lacks universal acceptance for everyday commerce. You can't exactly buy groceries everywhere with it just yet. Section 5. Bitcoin versus normal money. The ultimate comparison. When you view these two systems side by side, the contrast is pretty stark. Traditional fiat is government-controlled, it relies heavily on banks, it exists in physical form, and it has a theoretically unlimited supply. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is completely decentralized, entirely digital, strictly peer-to-peer, and hard-capped at 21 million. It's really important to see that neither system is inherently perfect. They just operate under fundamentally different sets of rules. Because they operate so differently, if you're ever evaluating Bitcoin, you have to remember this incredibly vital piece of wisdom. Before investing in anything, understand it first. Financial literacy is absolutely paramount here. Take the time to learn the mechanics, ask the hard questions, and respect the risks before you even think about participating. Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to chew on. Will Bitcoin eventually replace traditional money entirely? Or is it simply going to exist alongside it as a form of digital gold? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions and stay curious about the future of money.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next one.
If you're curious how I create these videos, from AI voiceovers to video editing and research, you'll find my complete toolkit in the description.